On the day after the Brexit vote, when I arrived at my hospital, people were literally crying. My German consultant, the Spanish and Portuguese nurses with whom I work, they were in tears. And that was because of how this vote made them feel, how unwanted, how undervalued. It wasn't that they were packing their bags immediately, but they felt very, very uncomfortable in this new Britain they apparently inhabited. And since then, many of the doctors and nurses with whom I work have already left. Understaffing is the single biggest problem facing the NHS today, I would argue. There are gaps in doctors and nurses' rotas in every hospital up and down the country. And since the Brexit vote last year, I have seen those gaps becoming worse already, even before Brexit has been enacted. When a rota gap occurs, if it's a doctor rota gap, it means a doctor like me will be forced to look after twice as many patients. It's dangerous. It's not safe to be trying to keep so many people's lives safe in our hands. If it's a nursing rota gap, sometimes that gap literally means beds are closed. And when they're closed, that means there are patients in need out there in the community who cannot come into our hospital because there aren't enough nurses to look after them safely. And this is a tremendous concern for all of us working in hospitals today. No patient of mine knows if I'm having to do two doctors' jobs, because I'll put on a brave face, I'll try and be in two places at once, I'll work hours upon hours that I'm not paid to be in the hospital to try and keep everybody safe. And so in a sense, the stark realities that we're facing through understaffing are being hidden from the public by the professionalism of the staff who are left. We're trying so hard to keep everything going. Every aspect of the NHS and social care in Britain is so heavily reliant on EU nationals. 1 in 10 doctors are from the EU. More than 50% of the nurses with whom I work at the moment are from the EU. Many of those doctors and nurses are already planning to go back home because they don't like the country Britain has become since Brexit. The day after the Brexit vote, a Polish optometrist who works in my hospital in the NHS was doing his job, speaking with his Polish accent, and he was subjected to a barrage of racist abuse from a patient relative sitting in the waiting room, and he was told to go back where he came from. That's horrific. Nobody who works in the NHS should be subjected to that, and it's more and more prevalent since Brexit. What I love doing is simple, straightforward doctoring. I love getting up and going to work every day and looking after my patients and doing the best job I can for them. That's what I want to spend all my time doing. But at the same time, being a doctor is all about being an advocate for your patients. It is about standing up for them and representing their best interests and ensuring you do everything in your power to help them. And for me now, in this political world we inhabit, an extension of my duty to my patients has become advocacy. I feel as though I must speak out. I can't stay quiet because the broader political forces currently operating in our country, whether that's underfunding and understaffing of our health service or dragging us into a hard Brexit, are imperiling my patients. And so it's my duty as their doctor to speak out. If we carry on along the same trajectory of underfunding of our health service, the one that we have seen every year since 2010, we are going to terminally imperil the NHS, I believe. Every doctor and nurse I work with is despairing. We see everything slowly and inexorably disintegrating around us. If you care about the NHS, if you want to still have an NHS in 10 years' time, please do everything in your power to lobby your MP, write to them, speak out, get involved, because if we don't, I genuinely believe 5 more years of the same, we might not have an NHS at the end of it.